Hello everyone and welcome to Table for One Please. My name is Tommy Hensel, and if you've been following this YouTube channel or my blog at tableforoneplease.com, you'll know that I'm in the middle of what I call a cookbook challenge. So I'm taking all the cookbooks on my cookbook shelf one at a time. I'm reviewing them, I'm then using a random number generator to pick a page, and then I'm cooking whatever's on that page. So I'm up to another cookbook on my shelf. This time I'm going to be reviewing the Moosewood cookbook. Anybody who's into vegetarian cooking probably owns a copy of this or one of the many iterations of this cookbook, or has at least heard of it. So the Moosewood cookbook is an amazing one because the Moosewood restaurant opened in Ithaca, New York in 1973, and it was a collective of people who opened this restaurant together. The restaurant is still there now, 45 years later, and it's still a collective and it's still owned largely by the same people who opened it. So the restaurant was kind of groundbreaking because in 1973, vegetarian restaurants were not the norm. Maybe in places like San Francisco, you might see them. And certainly cuisines coming from other parts of the world were largely vegetarian, but sort of the mainstream American concept of cooking involved that, what I think is that ridiculous food pyramid with the, all the different food groups, which we now know is really not the best thing in the world. But meat was such a huge part, and all of us who grew up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, always had giant amounts of meat in our meals, particularly on the weekends. So this cookbook, or that restaurant, was kind of groundbreaking. And in 1977, Molly Katzen produced this cookbook, not necessarily this specific one, but a version of this cookbook. Hand-line drawings that she drew herself. Everything was hand-lettered. It's really kind of cool. They produced it just locally, sold out, and so she went out searching for someone to publish the cookbook, and eventually she did find 10 Speed Press, and they allowed her to keep the same cute little drawings and to do all the hand lettering the way that she really wanted to. So she produced the first Moosewood cookbook in 1977. This particular copy is one that I picked up in the late 90s. It is the 15th anniversary version. So what she did is she took the 1977 cookbook, and in 1992 she revamped it. She had gotten a lot of feedback from people who had used the cookbook over the years that there were too many eggs and too much butter. Well, I don't think there's such a thing as too much butter. Julia Child and I would be great friends. But anyway, she decided, okay, well, I can adjust the recipes. So she lightened them up. So it's a vegetarian cookbook. The use of eggs has been largely reduced. The use of butter has been largely reduced. And so you have essentially a much lighter version of the original Moosewood cookbook. For people who are vegan, you would be happy with this cookbook because most of the recipes actually end up being vegan, or there's really easy substitutions to take them from vegetarian to vegan. So this is one of the most iconic of all vegetarian cookbooks. I would say if you're interested in cooking vegetarian or vegan at all, you absolutely must pick this up. And now I know 45 years later, there is a 40th anniversary version of this. I haven't read it, but I imagine she may have tweaked the recipes a little bit. But what's interesting is that the cover has always remained the same through all of the different editions of the cookbook. You still see the same cover, and the only difference is going to be across the top. It will say, whether it's the 15th anniversary or the 40th anniversary, whatever it is. But they're all going to look the same as this. So when you go on Amazon.com, you'll see this cover. You'll be able to pick up any of those versions. So this cookbook for me has always been my go-to for some very basic vegetarian things. The soups and salad dressings are amazing in here, but many of the entrees are pretty awesome as well. And although I'm not a huge fan of tofu, I have to say she has some excellent tofu recipes involving silken tofu to make sauces. And I hadn't really thought about it for years until I pulled this cookbook out. So I think I'm going to actually go through the cookbook again and try some of those sauces. But as I have promised with any of these cookbooks that I'm reviewing, I'm going to use a random number generator to pick a page, and then I'm going to cook whatever recipe is on that page. So before I get to that, just one last thing. I've already said it, but thumbs up to this cookbook. Great vegetarian cookbook. Awesome recipes, easy to follow. A few of them are complicated, but most of them really not so much. All right, so I've got my random number generator in front of me. The recipes fall from page 3 to page 218, so I'm going to click generate. All right, so you know I'm not cheating. If you zoom in, you'll see page 36. So let's see what's on page 36. Ooh, all right. Chilled berry soup. Okay, that's kind of cool. So even though we're past the summer and we're in the autumn, you see the autumn sunlight streaming through my window, I am going to cook the chilled berry soup that involves orange juice, buttermilk or yogurt, lemon or lime juice, honey, and then 2 to 3 cups of any kind of berries in any combination. So I'll see what's out there that's fresh, and I will be making chilled berry soup. So thank you for joining me for a quick cookbook review. This is the Moosewood Cookbook by Molly Katzen. If you go to my website at tablefor1please.com, you'll see my written review of this cookbook with this video, and you'll have links to Amazon.com and to the Moosewood restaurant website, the restaurant in Ithaca, New York. So please visit me at tablefor1please.com, and I will be back soon with a new video cooking the chilled berry soup. Thanks.